The second part of place marketing primarily focuses on the sport facility aspect. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this idea of there's no place like home, and that if you remember, there's this term called the third place. Sports and sporting events and venues, it's not work and it's not home. It's that third place you go. That term was coined by Starbucks, but it's especially true when you have the emotional connection that sport fans have with brands. So when you look at the scoreboard, a lot of people, as we talked about in chapter 1, have a subjective opinion. You look at the scoreboard and you're like, okay, it's pretty basic. I asked most students in my class, would you like this? And the majority of people go, well, it's kind of boring. But there's a few that go, no, it's not. It's exactly what I need to know. If you think about different sport venues, they have aspects that are tailored to the target market in which they're trying to attract. For example, here they wanted it very basic. You could see that they have essentially the different ads. On there you have the ball strikes out, you have the innings, you know how many runs there are, how many hits there have been, and how many errors, and you have a very small video board. Others might say this is relatively boring, won't gain my attention, and the sponsorship ads really aren't doing anything for me because I don't ever look over there. And so you have to think about who your target market is, who you're trying to attract, and what types of things you're looking for. In this circumstance, those that may be watching college football, baseball may not have that a subjective opinion that's essentially what they want. And so there are some things to look at. So when we talk about sport facilities, we're talking about the management of the sport facility. Proper management of sport facilities, we don't talk a lot about this in this sport business program at SFA, but facility management's there's a lot of jobs out there, and proper facility management attracts fans and encourages a positive atmosphere. Again, knowing your clientele, the atmosphere that you're creating is different based on the brand in which you work for. New stadiums and arenas can make things better in the short term. This is what we call the honeymoon effect. But the problem is, if we don't take care of the facility, we have a bad team, then it's basically a double whammy. In the sense that you may have may have a really short-lived new facility, new novelty effect, also known as the honeymoon effect. But managing sport facilities can be difficult really for two reasons. Managing sport facilities can be difficult for these two reasons. The first reason is that the longer you work at a place, the more difficult it is to remember what it's like to be a customer. Because most of the time, the people who work at these facilities go there every single day, and most sport organizations, their front office staff are actually, their offices are in the facility itself. So they drive to that facility every single day, and they know the shortcuts of how to get there. They know where to park. They know, essentially, they see the same things over and over again. Well, it's kind of like if you were in college and your, I don't know, your parents or whoever raised you comes into your house, and you might think, oh, I cleaned the place up, it's no big deal. Or if you have some friends over and you thought, well, the place is pretty clean, you didn't notice that trash had been piling up because you'd walk by it every single day. Yeah, you didn't notice that that corner of the room hadn't been swept in a while. It's the same thing in sport facilities. You don't notice the little things. You don't notice the tile that's missing in the bathroom that you never go to, which is their second point. But you don't notice that there's trash building up in a corner because it's just something you see on a regular basis. And so the little things turn out to be big things. You don't notice that, for example, the backdrop behind a home plate, the netting, has been worn. And over time, foul balls have been hit to it and it's starting to tear. You don't notice that. It breaks and hits somebody, and now you have a lawsuit against you. That is, we're talking about tort law. The second thing is why it's so difficult to manage sport facilities is that owners and managers are less likely to receive or even see the same service that the average Joe or the average consumer sees. So, for example, like I said, there are offices in there. They go through the same gates every single time, and typically they're back gates. So you don't go through the outfield gate where those in general admission may be walking through, or you don't see the seats because you never go sit in those sections. And so most of the time, those that are managing facilities are going to see the high-paying clients, those season ticket holders, the sponsors, to make sure they're having a good time and that their needs are met. And so you don't always see these things. So there are some things that we can do from a research standpoint that can try to better help ensure that this doesn't happen. One of them is secret shoppers. So hiring those experts in the field, or hiring people that just are average everyday consumers. Let them come to the facility. Don't tell your employees that they are secret shoppers, and see what they think about the event. What is it that we're not seeing that they are? Customer surveys are another way of doing this, asking online surveys or paper surveys at the event. Sometimes you do this to try to give away things. So service contests are another thing. So providing a quality service, you're giving your monthly or weekly awards out to your frontline workers that are dealing with your employees on a regular basis. So those are a few solutions to this problem. The other thing you have to look at is there are basically these two areas I just mentioned are difficult because there's three aspects of sports marketing that it represents. First one's facility management, and so dealing with making sure that the facility equipment is up to date and working. Something as simple as the stalls in every bathroom, making sure that there's a lock on them that actually works. Those are the little things that count. Service management, so giving your staff the ability to service clients and help them when they have issues. And then fan management. This is simply things if somebody gets hit by a foul ball, how do you go about helping them? How quickly can you respond, and what do you do in place of that? Or something is you have two people that are getting in a fight because they've been overserved. Those are things you have to be concerned with, and the like. So those are three areas that really as marketers we have to be aware of, that facilities do have issues. So kind of mentioned it briefly, but how do we go about ensuring that facilities are of high quality, that the events that we're hosting are of high quality? Part of that is the research that we do. So here just the next slide, I'm going to show you a few things that researchers and stadiums are now starting to see as factors that either cause pleasure or displeasure for the place in which the event occurs. These 11 are parking access. And so this is simply as ease of an entry of a parking lot to ensure that the main fairway or the main road in which people are coming in and out of have easy entry and exit. That you have enough parking and that the parking conditions are of high quality. You're not parking on grass or dirt and it rains and now you've got mud and you've got other issues. It's one issue that a lot of facilities have when you're talking about physical activity, outdoor recreation type activities. Ample parking and positive parking is good. Another one is architectural design and appearance. This typically comes when you are designing the facility or maintaining the landscape of the facility. So the structural design, what it looks like inside, the interior design as well, the exterior appearance, what do people see when they drive by on the road that makes them want to come in. The third one is what I just mentioned, interior decor, the color schemes, the wall decor, the lighting, what does the lighting say about the mood or the ambiance that you have. The facility layout itself, so the visibility, one thing I mentioned before, is how the facility is built at the Round Rock Express where I worked. When you go to buy any type of food at a concession stand, majority of the time fans stand with their either backs to the field of play or along concourse where you can't see the field of play at all. The way the Express built their facility was to try to prevent this, so that while you're standing in line, you're going so that you can see the game to your right or to your left, depending on where the stand is. So you're standing in line, but still can watch the action on the field. The wayfinding signage, this is typically signage in which it tells you where to go, where's the exit, where's your section number, where is the concession stands, where is the merchandise. Essentially, you're trying to point people in directions to make their experience more positive. Facility space, so is there enough space in things such as the restrooms, the walkways, the concession stands, the seating areas themselves. As we know, our society is becoming unfortunately larger in size, and so seating capacity is oftentimes discussed when talking about seat space. I can make wider seats to accommodate the U.S. population, which is a concern, but for every inch I gain in a seat width, I also lose in the ability to put another seat in. We're talking about revenue, and so those are started the issues, which brings to the next one, which is seat comfort. So the leg room, the elbow room, the seat space comfort, whether or not there's an obstructive view or not, these are all things that should be of concern. The equipment quality, so the functionality, so does the toilet actually flush? Does the elevator that I use actually work? Is the escalator working? Do I have to walk up it? These are all things that can cause problems. Scoreboard and sound system quality. We've mentioned this before, but we know that by having quality scoreboards and video boards, people are having more positive, effective response, and therefore returning to and staying at the event longer. And so a lot of money is being placed into scoreboard facilities as well as the sound, and whether or not those things are of high quality and clarity. Cleanliness of the restrooms, the walkways, concession stands, and then the number 11 was the perceived crowding. So feeling restricted, cramped, is it stuffy? People don't like to be, they like to be in big groups but not feel like they are crowded out.